Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. So glad to have you all here. Valued viewers and chatters, and of course, my lovely cast of players. Welcome, everyone, to Trial of the Hearts. This is my very first D&D campaign as a DM, and I'm super stoked. And I'm super nervous, and it's gonna be a great time. So, with all of that being said, I will introduce myself first. I am Maris Orum, your lovely host and DM. Ordinarily I do, story time and literature streams, but today we are gonna play some D&D. I'm going to give our players a chance to introduce themselves and briefly introduce who they will be playing as well. So we'll start at the top left corner. Sif, go ahead and introduce yourself.
I did this to us. I told them not to tell us what order we're being presented in. God fucking damn it, and now I'm paying the price for it. Hi, my name's Sif __ VTuber. Don't forget those two bits of non-letters there. I'm a living suit of armor. I play games. I do art. I like Spider-Man. And today I'm playing Gwyn. He's a little bird guy. That's all you need to know.
Yes, thank you, Sif. And next, Lily, go ahead.
Yes, hello. My name is Lily. I am a little amateur artist that draws a lot of D&D and general trans stuff, comics, that kind of good stuff. I'm really excited to be here playing in this lovely campaign run by someone that I'm very fond of. So.
Quick, Oliver, thank you so much for the gifted subs. I appreciate you. Thank you. Sorry, Lily, please continue.
Yeah, but I am playing Topaz, Stoneheart. They are any and all pronouns. I will likely say different pronouns within the same sentence because they just are very gender fluid. They are a monk in basically name. We will touch on how that works, but I am just excited to be playing this and hope that I can get my accent down. That is my biggest nervousness.
Thank you, Lily. Next, Vesper.
Hey, my name is Vesper Fortune. I play mostly a variety of games except for shooters and sports. Tonight I will be playing Oleander, the rogue servitor archaeologist, and I will be probably one of the main causes of shenanigans.
We love shenanigans in this house. This will be shenanigans galore. And last but certainly not least, Ares, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Aresima, also Ares the Harpy. I'm a crow harpy who streams various games and art occasionally, and I will be playing Luella Stalwix, an owlin auditor.
Very good. Thank you all. Thank you so much. A little bit of housekeeping before we dive into this, our very first session. This is a game that is very much inspired by classic fantasy romance novels such as Stardust, Princess Bride, Howl's Moving Castle, etc., etc. The overall tone is going to be relatively lighthearted, very much roleplay focused. We've got a great gaggle of theater kids here, ready to, act their absolute hearts out, and I'm so ready for it. There's going to be very little combat unless our delightful players decide to do something really ridiculous. But who's to say that won't happen, right? Who's to say? This is a mashup of different tabletop games. I'm calling it a D&D session because it is primarily based off of D&D 5e. However, we are also kind of going by Dimension 20 ACOFAF rules and incorporating mechanical elements of the game Good Society as well, which is a Jane Austen-inspired RPG, which is just delightful, and it encourages players to really care about their reputations. It really helps to drive the narrative, rewards players for acting very well within their characters' interests, things like that. That being said, you will notice beneath each of our players' names is their 5 stars. This is their reputation tracker. As they play this game, how they act will be perceived by society with a capital S. I myself, the DM, will sort of be acting as society for the greater part of this game, and their actions will have consequences, both good and bad. So right now, every player's reputation tracker is at neutral, but it can go up or down depending on their choices. And that's not to say that if their reputation is negative, that it is purely a negative thing. There are perhaps some good qualities to being a little under the radar. And of course, having a positive reputation means that other people, NPCs, other players, might be a little bit more inclined to socialize with you. Or it might be all the more encouragement to knock them down a peg. Who's to say? And last but certainly not least, as I have mentioned, I am a brand new DM, so please bear this in mind as you are watching, my dear viewers. I am bound to make mistakes aplenty. However, I do ask not to offer any unsolicited advice in the chat, even though I do appreciate, help and insight. I do have a few very good DMs amongst my players, so if ever I need help on a ruling or mechanics or just rules in general, I will probably refer to them first. And then if I specifically request for help from chat, then please, by all means, give me your advice. And with that, I think we are ready to begin. Players, are we ready?
Yes.
All right. We find ourselves in the country of Wishborne. This is a magical realm that is currently enjoying a quiet time of hard-won peace and prosperity. The time of superstition, barbarism, and witches is over, leaving room instead for modernization, business, and, as people are in want of excitement now, gossip. This is an era of changing times, rising fortunes, and mingling between the fantastical species human, fae, and beasts alike. With the external conflict resolved, Wishborne society seems to strive to create its own excitement, creating a culture of drama and political intrigue. But such petty squabbles pale in comparison to the latest news. Several weeks ago, all eyes were turned heavenward as the illuminated tail of a star blinked across the night sky. The time of hunting fallen stars may be but a distant memory now, but citizens of the Kingdom of Wishborne are still abuzz with excitement and gossip. The last fallen star descended 150 years ago, and with another one newly fallen, the secretive Celestial Court might open their pearly gates once again. Protectors of the fallen stars, the only members of the Celestial Court may intercept them, whisking them to their home to instruct them in the ways of mortal life. Rumor has spread throughout the land. Surely, this star will be the most beautiful and most powerful one of all. When will the Celestial Court present them to society? What are they planning? No one knows. But the fallen star is all anyone is talking about these days. We will start at the capital of Wishborne. Within the palace is an office. A particular office, very neat, very tidy. A few trinkets here and there, some decorative art pieces, otherwise very well kept. The owner of said office does not live in the palace, but with all the work required of her, she might as well. Luella, would you please describe yourself to our viewers?
The character?
Yes.
Apologies. Luella is a fairly tall and imposing owlin, standing a bit over 6 feet, often with a green hood and veil matching her green, flowing, but slim dress. And she tends to, as she works on her paperwork, take small puffs of a little pipe of hers.
Thank you. Thank you, Luella. Today you find yourself at your desk. You are poring over a contract between a human offering. It's a contract between an infertile human offering their firstborn in exchange for riches beyond imagining from a unfortunately bankrupt Fae party. Unfortunately, this contract is very convoluted. There's no immediately plausible clauses to nullify their sticky agreement. They're currently at a bit of a legal stalemate. As you sort of push that to the side, you've been mulling over this one for a while, you notice that the next item on your ever increasing pile of contracts is a glittery blue scroll. You don't remember that being upon your desk amongst your piles of papers. Everything is usually kept neat and tidy. Certainly you would have noticed this before. But as you take it in your feathery hands, you notice a wax seal. And you would recognize this as the emblem of the Celestial Court. Do you open the scroll?
After a moment's pause, yes.
All right. You open the scroll, and you find a blank, dark sheet of paper, and the words, after a moment, start to appear upon the page. You are cordially invited to the most anticipated event in Wishborne, the Trial of Hearts, to be held at Hollowlight Estate, courtesy of Dame Leonora at the next Hare Moon. Well.
Oh dear.
As you pore over the words, perhaps you can't help but feel a little bit intrigued. Your schedule will certainly be in tatters should you accept the invitation, but perhaps the risk is well worth pushing back a few deadlines and rescheduling a few meetings with clients. At this moment, your assistant, Bellamar, knocks slightly at your door and approaches, notices the scroll in your hand, that puzzled expression barely seen through the veil covering your face. Something the trouble, Miss Luella?
Just my schedule. And then she is going to hand it to him.
Oh,
Or her.
certainly. I've arranged your schedule entirely correctly. His antenna flicker a moment in agitation, but he pores over the invitation. His moth wings attached to his back flutter a little in surprise. One antenna flickers, and he moves to correct the spectacles on his face. I see. This is exciting news indeed. Do you plan to go?
She takes a long, deliberate puff on her pipe, blows out a billowing cloud of smoke. I think I shall.
Certainly. After all, fallen stars only fall, well, seldomly. And I'm sure that many of your clients will be there anyway.
Oh, I should hope not. But alas, there will likely be many.
Well then, I shall make arrangements, adjust his spectacles once again. I shall adjust your schedule and alert the others that you will be busy and out of your office for some time. Oh, shall I also let Madame Lavinia know? She will be on her own for the next foreseeable future.
Yes, if you would. And do prepare. There is a great many things to do this week. I will be expecting you to handle it as usual.
Of course, miss, of course. I will handle everything in your absence. Bellamar is already a pretty, sallow-looking fellow, tall and lean, but he's... the bags on under his eyes seem to grow even more as he promises to adjust your schedule for you, but it's nothing he hasn't managed before. After all, you both are very, very busy individuals. Well, I shall ensure that everything is tidied up for you, so you have nothing to fret about in your absence. I'm sure that those who would miss you would be perfectly understanding.
Thank you, Bellamar. And perhaps, if you handle everything properly, a day off is in order.
Oh, he tries not to look too excited by this proposition. He'll just clear his throat. That would be most appreciated. Very generous of you, Miss Luella. Very generous indeed. Well then, you'll be needing passage then to the Hollow Light Estate. I will arrange a coach for you to speed you along your way.
Wonderful.
Very good. And he'll hand back the invitation for you and give a little nod of his head and promptly exit his to-do list, much longer than it was when he came in through the door. As the day starts to end for you, both you and Bellamar working to finish up any open-ended record keeping, making preparations for your absence. As you prepare for this potentially life-changing event, what are you feeling in this moment, Luella?
Luella is feeling a sort of subdued excitement and piqued interest, largely.
Very good. As we close on this scene, in the neat and tidy but bustling office in the capital, we now transition over to a small town, the small town of Stone's Throw. This is a mining town, and it's ruled over by one Jasper Stoneheart, a very much large and in charge Furbolg, who discovered upon a jewel mine almost by accident, and created through sheer grit and hard work a thriving enterprise and gemstone empire. All things considered, life is simple and good for Jasper Stoneheart and his large family. He's quite protective of them and his wealth. But there is one within Jasper's household who is perhaps not so content with how things are. And Lily, if I can have you describe Topaz, please.
Sure. So Topaz is about 5'11" fur bulk. They have purple hair, red eyes, big round spectacles, and are currently wearing much more of a casual outfit for them. Just a nice, simple, basically just a sweater that's very loosely hanging on her, and just lounging, kind of just looking around, reading through likely a few books and magazines about fashion, glancing over at her very, 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 very large walk-in closet filled with different gowns, suits, and other such outfits, kind of just debating on what to take care of next. So, as she sort of just begins to rise, he will go ahead and walk over to the jewelry drawer, peruse through a very, very large collection of gemstones, diamonds, emeralds, sapphires, everything that you could possibly expect is there in excess. And he kind of takes a second, looks through them, picks out a very beautiful topaz. This one, more of a solid red variety, just grins at it and then proceeds to walk over to one of the dresses, quickly sew it into it and say, I think that'll do. I think that'll do. And at this point probably hears an alarm going off and starts to head out into the very large rest of the house.
All right, thank you, Lily. Yes, as you vacate your room, you walk into a very usual scene for your household, which is the utter chaos that is breakfast. You have a very large family, your father, your mothers, and all of your siblings, running about, trying to claim a seat at the table, and basically trying to grab something to eat before there's nothing left. And at the head of the table, of course, is your father, Jasper Stoneheart, a large furbolg man in his 50s, reddish fur, very much like a Highland cow, these big antlers protruding from the top of his head. Very much a intimidating presence. Literally a large man, but also just a large aura presence about him as he sits at the head of the table, reading the newspaper, the daily newspaper that just arrived. And as you take your seat at the table, your father lets out a sort of huff, in alarm, as a blue paper amidst the pages of his newspaper sort of just appears in place, as though it just manifested by magic. He takes the page, and you see his eyes briefly skims over it, and he huffs dismissively, folds it, tucks it in his jacket pocket, and goes back to reading his paper. And you could hear him sort of utter a few things under his breath.
I'm not impressed. I imagine Topaz kind of watching this. She still has the book in her hand and just kind of takes a second. And as they notice this kind of scene play out, they're very much book raised, but he is very much keeping an eye on this and kind of quirks a bit of an eyebrow towards Jasper, but doesn't say anything because speaking to him about any of this stuff would likely be a bit of an overstep.
While you are quiet in your curiosity, your mother, who sits at one of his sides at the table, actually speaks up at this moment. Just something of interest, dear? And he huffs again, just nothing of so great import. The celestial court's inviting me to some high and fancy to do. Not that I have any interest in going. Seems like a lot of rubbish to me.
The celestial court, you said? That's a high honor there, Father.
Aye, all the more reason I won't be going. Don't want to be rubbing elbows with none of them fancy folk.
The fancy folk are the ones that buy your gems, though. Wouldn't it be a good idea to... And she cuts herself off, realizing that they are speaking incredibly out of turn, and just goes back to being quiet.
I kind of picture Jasper to have like those Muppet eyebrows where like they sort of cover his eyes at all times, and then they sort of lift in surprise, and you can actually see a glimpse of his eyes for a brief moment as he looks you over, Topaz, and just, aye, they buy the gemstones, but I never have to take a look at any of them. They buy them regardless of how I have to treat them. They want the gems, I have them, so they can deal with me not wanting to rub elbows with them and treat them so nice all the time.
Fair enough, Father. Then, would you be simply just discarding the letter like that?
What else would I do with it? Wipe my ass with it?
No. Wasn't implying anything of the sort. It's just... I mean, I could go in our family stead. Perhaps it'd be a good opportunity to make a few connections for my own personal business.
Your own personal business. Well, I suppose it's about that time we talk about your business. But are you still on those flights of fancies, that ridiculous notion of dressmaking, Topaz?
There's like a noticeable like coil in his expression of just like, oh god. But steadies himself. Just says, it's not silly. It is, in fact, a very viable business. Once we get the name out there that the Stonehearts are expanding their horizons past simple gem making.
There's nothing wrong with simple gem making.
I'm not saying there's anything. Every time you cut him off, she immediately silences.
It puts plenty of bread on our table.
It absolutely does, but I mean, you've seen my outfits and my dresses, everything. They're all very much putting our gemstones forward. It is a way to advertise the business not only of my crafting, but your mining. It's a very mutually beneficial business. It's just...
Topaz, it's too early to be rehashing this old argument. We'll talk about this later. Besides, it's not your name that's on the invitation. So, I have no need of going. What would I do with a fallen star anyway? So, that's all there is to it. And he tucks his waistcoat into his jacket, stiffens up, rises, plops his newspaper down on the table, and heads over to his office on the other side of the house.
And he still has the invitation in his jacket pocket.
That he does.
Okay.
Now
Who
that...
else? Yeah, go ahead.
Nope, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask like something that would lead into something next, so you please go ahead.
Sure. With the usual argument that you have with your father sort of mulling in the back of your mind, your day passes largely as usual. You find yourself, once night descends, in your room, and you are awake, mulling over the invitation, the conversation you had with your father, the chance that he is too willing to throw away. As this is going on like a circle in your mind, what are you feeling in this moment as you struggle to fall asleep?
Definitely a bit of like bitterness as they grit their teeth. Just kind of thinking about how Jasper's never taken him seriously in her endeavors and everything. And it's just like thinking about the possibility of getting clients in the highest echelons of society, how that could be essentially marketing for their business of fashion, and just thinking about just the endless possibilities that even beyond winning the star's heart, that's not of interest at this moment. But they are just thinking about just how everything about this opportunity could mean literally everything to her.
As you are considering this opportunity and what it could mean for you, you think about the invitation itself, folded and tucked into the inner pocket of your father's jacket. Now, you know that your father is very much a creature of habit, and you know he has the annoying habit of leaving said jacket in his office. He usually sheds it as he works through the day, and is prone to forgetting it draped across his chair in his office.
I think, just sort of as has been shown, Topaz is very much submissive to her father's wishes, but just the anger and resentment, like soft resentment, it's not real resentment, it's kind of built up and it's just like, it couldn't hurt to check. He doesn't need it anyways. Couldn't hurt. If anything, and sort of speaking out loud to theirself, just like, if anything, give you just a bit of gumption for getting up to take a look.
All right. It's the quiet hours of the night, between the hours of midnight and 2. The house is quiet, and you sneak your way to your father's office. When you open the door, you find it, much as it usually is, in a state of organized chaos. It's a system that no one understands but your father, and no one is permitted to change or touch anything. You find papers in various piles, a couple of safes for keeping the money and certain rare gemstones safe, bookshelves of leather-bound books that your father probably hasn't touched in a considerable amount of time. As you are perusing the office, go ahead and make a investigation check.
Oh god, first roll of the game.
First roll of the game.
15.
15. You find the jacket in its usual spot, and you check the pockets. The invitation is not there. You scavenge about the office, trying not to leave a trail of your presence, and you find that he actually just straight up discarded the invitation. It's in his little trash bin by the desk. But you do find the invitation. And as you feel it in your hands, you read over the text, the cordial invitation, the trial of hearts, hollow light has stayed to the next hair moon. You're so engrossed in the text that you don't sense the other presence in the room. And as you're reading the invitation, you hear another whisper. What do you think you're doing?
Immediately I know who this is.
You turn in a whirl and you find your younger sister, Lapis. She is a couple years your junior, in a grotesquely pink and frilly dress. Her hair neatly arranged in two afro puffs, and her big eyes are just wide, her pupils dilated as she's getting used to the darkness of the office.
What do you think you're doing?
I asked you first.
I know you asked me first, but this is...
Are you sneaking around in Dad's
You're-
office?
You're sneaking around in Dad's office.
Yeah, well, I got you sneaking first.
Yeah, but you...
What are you sneaking for?
Nothing.
You don't sneak around for nothing.
Well, what are you sneaking around for?
I'm getting that invitation.
I'm getting that invitation too.
Well, then
I've got it right here. You
You
snooze, you lose.
no, Topaz,
What?
got to let me have it,
I'm not letting you have it.
please.
It's everything I could ever want.
It's what
You know
I
that.
want too. I got to get out of here.
Oh, please, girl. You know that this whole thing is just a test. And I'm gonna pass it.
What? You mean you actually want to do the trials?
No, I don't want to do the trials. I mean, I'll do them. Hey, if somehow they fall in love with me, then perfect. But I'm looking for clients.
Wait, so you just want to go talk to the rich people?
For the most part, yes.
That's why I want to go. I'm gonna bag me a rich matron and get the fuck out of here.
Oh. That's it?
What else
That's-
is
that's-
there?
Oh,
I'm
that
marrying
is-
rich, and I'm gonna live a comfortable life and get out of here.
Oh my goodness, Lapis. Surely you can't be interested in such base things.
Why not?
Here's the deal. I have it. Let's go back to my room so we can stop whispering about it in Dad's office. Does that sound agreeable to you, at least for now?
Fine. And with that, the two of you will make a quiet but hasty retreat back to your room, Topaz.
Closes the door. Oh my goodness, sister.
What?
Oh.
You didn't think I'd let this chance slip through my fingers?
You think I'd let this chance slip through my fingers?
Okay, so neither of us want the chance to slip through the fingers, so why don't we just go together?
I think you're ready to mingle with the big folks.
I know I am. I'm much better at it than you are. Besides, I could help you. You don't know how to talk to people so well.
They know that that's absolutely true. And just kind of sit there for a moment. Just, ugh. Fine.
Yeah? You promise? Pinky promise.
Pinky promise.
Double pinky promise.
Double pinky promise. So you pulling out the big guns there.
I'm not risking this chance just because you like to do things on your own, Topaz.
I mean, certainly you do the same. You were planning on stealing the invitation for yourself. Listen, in the way that I at least look at this, it's better for us both to be there as representatives of the Stoneheart family. I know we come from different mothers, but it's still a good idea.
Right. Besides, you'll need my help, talking, mingling, and I've got quite the ear for gossip. Her one fluffy ear twitches a little bit.
I need you to double pinky promise me something too.
Hmm.
You're not just gonna stab me in the back.
I would never, Topaz. If anything, I need to come up with some flowery story to make you sound good.
Oh, I'm plenty good myself.
She just kind of quirks an eyebrow. And
I mean, look at all these dresses. They're beautiful. You know they're beautiful. You can have one if you want. It'd be good. It'd be good dress for me.
You know what? I think there are plenty of others who it would suit a lot more. I mean,
never
there's
did
not
like my
nearly
dresses.
enough lace in them.
I can make you a lace dress if that's what you want.
Yeah,
But I know it's just an excuse. I can read you like a book. We've known each other long enough.
all right, fine. I don't want to wear your dresses, Topaz, but
Thank
I'm
you,
sure
I know.
I'm sure there are plenty of others who would.
I know you're fooling me, but I'm confident in my work, and if you can help me sell the work, and we can find you, you're a lesbian, right? I believe we've talked about this.
Well, sure, but if some rich man wants to marry me, I mean, it's whatever.
Fair enough, fair enough.
We agreed then. And she holds out both of her pinkies.
We are agreed to both go to this. You'll help me sell my dresses. I will do my best to not interfere with you finding a mate, and we won't backstab each other. Sound good?
No backstabbing.
No backstabbing.
All right. And she'll curl her pinkies around yours, give your hands a little shake, and she is out the door because she is about to pack her suitcases to the brim.
6 o'clock tomorrow.
6 o'clock tomorrow?
What a fucking girl. Either way, I think I got a lot of work to do myself.
With your plan in motion, your sister as an ally, as you are getting ready to pack your things, how are you feeling, Topaz?
I think they are feeling positive. I think they're realizing that they don't really have a good story to cover their ass with, but all the better to sneak out before the story is needed. And even though they are, younger members of the Stoneheart family, they still hold enough sway to say, hey, can you give us a carriage to the Hololight estate, and just feel confident in that they can go wherever they need to. After all, she does get out a lot to find different fabrics and stuff. So feeling cautiously confident and very full of anxiety at this opportunity.
Very good. You start to pack your suitcase. weariness starts to take a toll on you. You were up very early, after all. And retiring to bed with thoughts of promise, opportunity, and a decent handful of nerves, you find yourself drifting off to sleep for the adventure that waits you tomorrow. And we move on past this mining town even further, a few towns over, to a practically nameless little village. Unremarkable, except for the fact that in one of their fields, it's been practically carved out, and there's a small bustle of activity as people go to and fro from a particular dig site. And that's where we find Oleander. Vesper, would you please describe Oleander for us?
Sure. Oleander is a somewhat tall servitor, which is a deer centaur. He has bright orangey red hair, dark terracotta tan skin. He has very lovely deer ears. His hair is a mess. He has eye bags and freckles all across his face, down to his body. Freckles that turn into white spots on his deer part, and freckles that turn to white spots on his ears. He has 3 braids that are also a mess. They're just kind of wiry with some hair shooting out, and he looks tired, but like good tired right now. Though with the recent discovery, he is very not good tired. He is exhausted in a bad way because this discovery he has made has not. It's going down in the textbooks basically once he figures out where to put it.
Very much that excited, hyper-focused academia exhaustion that is creeping over you in this moment because you have been digging for quite some time on a fairly questionable but promising lead, and you have actually managed to stumble upon a very thrilling and remarkable find, the kind that has you very excited, but you're playing your cards very close to the chest. You're not willing to let this discovery be publicized just yet. You still have a few things to uncover and to theorize before making it public. This is huge, huge for your research, considering that your area of study is unpopular at best. But as you reach for one of your many brushes from your toolkit, you notice a glittery scroll atop your toolkit, which certainly wasn't there when you last looked. It seemed to almost have manifested before your eyes. It's a dark blue scroll, and you see upon it the emblem of the Celestial Court. Would you care to open your scroll?
I will look at it. He will look at it just like questionably, but he kind of knows that this magical stuff is somewhat popular amongst the nobles, so he will open it without really caring if Polly or the others see. But he will open it and look at it and read.
Yeah, you get the same invitation that the others have. Cordially invited, Trial of the Hearts, Hololight Estate, Next Terra Moon, yada yada. And since you are reading it very openly in plain view, it definitely catches the eye of one Polly Wickerbog, an elderly gnome woman who works alongside you. And she sort of cozies up to you and just, oh, something of interest, Mr. Oleander?
Oh, it looks like, Polly. I wouldn't know why they would invite me of all people. I mean, I am rather an academic on the fringes.
An invitation? What are they inviting you to, dear?
I'm not sure. We've been busy down this hole for a bit, but if I remember correctly, a star fell a few weeks ago.
Oh, yes, the fallen star. I remember when the last star fell. It was quite the to-do.
I'm very tempted to go, but it seems very coincidental with our find, Polly.
Well, listen, Oleander, you're young. You should have some fun once in a while. Take it from me, dear. If anything, you should go and enjoy yourself. Meet new people. The only people you know here are me and the twins, and they're certainly not a good influence on you.
You are quite right, and I kind of look over at them.
They're the two of them are like on a smoke break. They're goofing off, like.
you know, they're good people, but I do think they do need to take less breaks. But maybe I will go. I'll have to write some letters first, though.
Certainly, and I can manage the dig while you're away. There's no concerns there. And perhaps regarding our discovery, well, whoever's going to this event, if it's anything like the last one, there's going to be some, well, powerful people, knowledgeable people, rich people. If you can't find answers, you can certainly get funding for our dig.
You are correct, Polly. You do have. It is nice having you here, and I entirely trust the dig site to you while I'm away.
Thank you,
However,
dear.
however, you know my father. I'll be writing to him. If
Certainly.
if he happens to send someone here, that's more me being careful for you.
I appreciate it, dearie. Now, go write your letters. I'll keep an eye on these two, and she'll nod over to Silas and Linus. She'll give your front deer flank a little pat, and then she'll march on over to the twins and start berating them for taking too many breaks as per the norm.
And I will go off to whatever I'll go off to like the little tent setup we have above the hole and begin like getting stuff together for the trip to the Hallowell estate, and I will write letters to my father.
All right. As you are writing these letters, you have a relatively open form of communication with your father. It's been a while since you've last seen each other face to face, but the line of communication is always open. He's very caring for all of his children. But as you're writing your letter to him, and you're thinking about the opportunity before you and Polly's word of advice to come back with either answers or funding. How are you feeling, Oleander?
I am feeling rather. He is feeling rather. It's a lot of things. It's this very volatile cocktail of anxiety, curiosity, uh, lots of the more questioning emotions. There's not like happiness in there. It's much more of I have gotten myself into a mess, but I was given the tools to get out of said mess, or at least entrench myself further into this mess. And so I am wondering, questioning, nervous, anxious, maybe a little excited. And he kind of puts that into the letter as well, that he is very worried about the current situation, especially considering these are nobles who have sent him this letter. This is the Celestial Court, so they must know who he is and his past. So it's like, yeah, Dad, I might be in over my head.
Got it, got it. So as you're pouring these anxieties, the updates of your situation, is there anyone else aside from your father that you would like to write to?
I will also write to. Also, just a little bit of flavor. These are not directly. The letter to his father is not directly addressed to his father. It's addressed to the church, the temple, under the name of brother Deerreed.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And so he's going to write to his professors, Gad's Goldmine, and the ever so lovely elder Messathine, and just give a general idea that he's found something, and that he wants their opinion at some point on it, and they might receive something in the near future in case something happens. Like, he's going to be very vague. He doesn't want to worry them per se.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wants them to know that there's a very big discovery happening in his field.
All right. So one letter to your father with a life update, and two to your professors for inquiries regarding your latest find. And as you write these letters and you start to get ready, we are going to proceed back to the capital, where we find ourselves at yet another office. This one is very different from Luella's. For one thing, it's kept too dark for many details. The fire in the hearth has long since gone out. There are many areas of the room that feel untouched and have quite literally gathered some dust. This is a place that is adjunct to the royal palace, implying that they want to keep this person close at all times in case of an emergency. And Sif, if you could please describe Gwyn for us.
So Gwyn is a bird shifter. He stands fairly tall at about 5'10", 5'11", not too sure. He is stylized after hawks and falcons. He has brown feathering from his hair, subtle feathering across his skin, leading into brown skin. He's endraped with this black robes with gold embroidery. He wears refined armor, refined silver armor, where the plating, instead of scaled, has this feathered pattern in it. And the center of his outfit is this sort of green emerald that reflects in orange and blue hues. Yeah.
All right.
And a pair. Mm-hmm.
So, Gwen, times are peaceful at the moment, so there's very little to work on for a man in your position. You find yourself, as usual, alone in your office, mulling over some tedious paperwork that's become standard issue in your newly monotonous life. You start to feel your eyes starting to go cross as you look at this page, perhaps from the low light of your single candle burning into your oppressively dark office. Perhaps it's from the tedium of yet another defense budget and soldier payroll cut request. But as you start to set that page down, the door to your office sort of starts to open on its own accord, and in waddles in a little automaton servant. He's quadrupedal, kind of like if you took a Roomba and you stuck like 4 legs on it, and he's got like those blinking eyes like cars with the pop-up headlights. And there's a fresh stack of paperwork balanced precariously on the top of his flat back as it kind of waddles up to you, and you hear in its metallic voice, just, "All clear, master. Nothing to report today. The kingdom is safe. The people prosper. Surely you are satisfied. There is nothing more to do." And he waddles up to you, and its legs extend up to the height of your desk, and he just dumps the papers on your desk and lowers back down.
Gwyn, during this whole time, just doesn't acknowledge him, but does the same practiced motion of waving his feather, his quill, towards the spot on the desk where the papers go. And then as the papers are dropped on the desk, he leans back in his seat as there's a loud creak that echoes through the office. He stretches and looks up at a clock. DM, it's only been like, it's like that high school thing where you like, is the day over yet, and you look up and it's been like 2 fucking minutes.
Yep. I swear it's been 2 hours.
Mm-hmm. He dips his quill in the ink pot again, and then grabs the first letter on top of the pile, and then returns to completing another pile of paperwork, DM, until I assume there is a certain parchment of a blue variety.
You very much are going through the motions, page after page after page, in a very familiar hand, some of it the king, some of it the queen's, some of it the captain of the guard. It's all very, very, very familiar to you, until you reach for the next page, and it's dark, glittery blue. A seal holds it shut, and you recognize it as the seal of the Celestial Court.
So Gwyn stays in a pretty dark room. Granted his dark vision and just, moody fucking twink. So he'll grab his dagger. It is a dagger that lights up, and he'll use it to carve off the seal and then flip it upside down so the pommel can light up the parchment, just so he's aware that it's like blue.
Like a boomer in a dark restaurant. You have to have the phone flashlight.
Yep.
But yes, you find the same invitation. You're invited to the Trial of the Hearts at Hollow Light Estate, next Hair Moon, yada yada. And Gwen, you've been an ambitious man all of your life. You have sought to climb the social and political ladders, and in this time of peace, you've recognized you've hit a wall on your upward mobility. And people, for the most part, they do treat you with a high amount of respect and appreciate your efforts in defeating witch cults and maintaining the peace in this new, quiet era. But perhaps this could be a nice change of pace for you.
Gwyn is going to push back on his chair and leave the parchment open on his desk. He'll stand tall and then walk up to the mantle towards the back of his room with awards and trophies, literal songs written for him as he rubs his finger across it, collecting the dust off of it, rubbing it between his fingers, his gloved hand. And he turns back and says, if the automaton's still here, Automaton, is that all? No correspondence or letters?
Ah, letters. Yes, you have letters. And he'll sort of shuffle out of the door, gone for a few quiet moments. And then you hear the creaking of his legs as he approaches again. And there's a little stack of, like, 3 letters on the top of his flat body. Waddles on up to you, hands it to you. And as you take these letters, 3 very distinct writing on these papers. These are not the kings, they're not the queens, they're not the captain of the guards, but they're still familiar to you. You recognize each 3 of these are correspondence from mercenaries you used to work with.
He's gripping these letters tightly with his thumbs. You see his thumb, his pointer finger slowly edge towards that wax seal. And then he bites his lip as blood drips down across his face, dancing among his feathers. He holds them up to the candle and sets them alight, burning them away.
Damn, don't even read them.
And then he's gonna move towards the balcony part of his office, small little curtained off area where he can look over the kingdom. As he looks down from the castle, from his little window in the kingdom, what's the sight of, like, below? What's below the castle?
Below the castle, you can see the parapets of the lower floors. Presumably these would be residential apartments for the prince and princess would be close by, as well as any residing nobles who might either live at the palace part-time or just visiting. And below that, you would see at the ground level the city of the capital itself. And even though it's in the dead of night, this is rather a city that doesn't sleep. There's always something going on. So you can see, if you squint really hard, there's still people out and about. Taverns and inns are still hopping, and there is a slight jovial bustling that you can hear of activity.
As I look out towards the horizon past the kingdom, is it just wooded Feywilds?
Yes, there's a forest surrounding, and beyond that, a very dark, starry horizon.
As he takes in what's beneath him, he looks up at that starry sky. He slowly, very carefully and gracefully removes the glove from his right hand and holds it up, just his pure naked hand, up towards the sky, towards those stars. His eyes widening for the first time in what seems like ages. Automaton, hold on, I have some correspondence to write to members of the kingdom before I begin packing for this, preparing for this, for the trials.
Waiting for correspondence.
And with that, Gwyn will sit down at his table and just ignore the paperwork on it, because at this point it doesn't matter. The trials take precedence.
The king can wait. This is important.
The king can understand. He knows.
He knows.
He's probably gonna be there.
Yeah. All right. So as you continue to work into the night, writing your letters of correspondence, who were you writing to, Gwyn?
Not to like people in particular, but just to like soldiers, like official like soldiers of the kingdom to inform them, hey, listen, so and so is in charge. I will be attending the trials and will not be readily available. The automaton is encoded to find me no matter what. So like if in an emergency, as unlikely as it is to happen, they could find Gwyn, but he will be primarily focused on the trials. And he's gonna say, you know, he's going to gas them up and tell them that they got this, and then a letter to the king and queen informing them that he looks forward to seeing them at the trials, hopefully, and that he will be there and focusing on that.
Certainly.
I'm assuming in terms of official business, like the trials are like over national security, at least for Gwyn, right? Like officially.
I mean, in this peaceful time, I think for certain the king and queen would be understanding and willing to let you go. They have their own royal guard. They still have, you know, their army, their soldiers. You know, they've got plenty of protection. So it's not that you wouldn't be missed, but they still feel perfectly comfortable and safe where they are. And I can say that with, you know, as you write these correspondence and you get ready to pack, and you go to sleep finally that night, however many hours of sleep you manage to get, the following morning your automaton walks in as you're still abed. There's a single parchment atop its back, and it's from Queen Calpurnia. And she informs you just very briefly, it's not a very flowery correspondence, but just very briefly that she, you know, is, you know, glad that you have the opportunity to go to the trials. Neither she nor King Bastion will be present themselves at the trials. However, Prince Alto and Princess Adora will be there, as they received invitations.
My recon has paid off. Who the royal family's going? I will actually tuck that letter and keep it in my inventory. As I, the trials are like in a separate place from the castle, right?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. So I would be packing up to go. I'm gonna turn off my Roomba too.
Turn off your Roomba, your poor automaton.
I'll leave it on.
All right. All right. So you get ready for the day. Everyone else, you are traveling to Hollow Light Estate by your own means of travel. It's not particularly far from the capital. It's about, you know, a half day's worth of travel away. And this is a very idyllic estate. The house itself, the house proper, is huge and beautiful. I picture something akin to the Biltmore estate. I mean, rooms upon rooms upon rooms. You can catch glimpses of the windowed ballroom on one side of the house, a greenhouse on, you know, the other, large trees and forests surrounding the property, and behind the house, grounds and gardens and trees and topiaries, all immaculately presented. It is a truly stunning house, grounds, and estate. Everything is lightly dusted with last night's winter snow, and one by one, you find yourselves at the gates of Hollow Light Estate. There's a couple of rather intimidating looking Aasimar guards at the front gate. and they're checking the invitations of each person who arrives. You get the impression that security will be quite tight here.
I imagine Topaz and Lapis are probably both like confident but also kind of nervous about this part. 'Cause-
Lapis very much carries herself, just usually, she carries herself with an air of unearned confidence. But even you can tell this poor girl is shaking in her snow boots. She's very nervous.
We
Do
both
you
have
have the
suit-
invitation, or does Lapis have the invitation?
I have the invitation.
All right.
I imagine we both have like suitcases that are literally like about to burst, like
Oh.
multiple.
Like, Lapis has enough luggage that it's like that Spaceballs moment where the princess has her matched luggage and she's lugging around like 5 huge boxes. It's very much like that. And she is struggling to shuffle along. Will you be the first to approach Topaz?
Oh god.
And Lapis.
I guess so. Spoke up first.
You spoke,
You
you
almost
are
did.
volunteered.
Oh. Kind of like look over at Lapis, like, think I should be the one to do this? Does that sound agreeable, considering I am
Oh.
the eldest?
I mean, you're the oldest, but you don't talk so good. I mean, what if they question the invitation?
Well, back me up then.
Oh, okay, I'll back you up.
Kind of walk up to the guard after like waiting in line. She's like, good day to you, sir. I am Topaz Stoneheart, and this here is my sister, Lapis Stoneheart, and we are here in the place of our dear father, Jasper Stoneheart. Here is our invitation.
The guard will take the invitation, mull it over, and just kind of eye you with a quiet disinterest. Just, your father isn't coming? We were expecting Jasper Stoneheart.
No, he is staying at home as business demanded that he would oversee a expansive new mining op. Isn't that right, Lapis?
Oh, indeed. He's very busy at the moment, so he sent the two of us instead. Topaz is one of the older siblings in society, and I'm the youngest. So we've come in his place, as per his request, of course. And the guard looks over the both of you. The invitation, however, is legitimate, and he'll fold it, hand it back to you, and just say, inform the dame that your father could not make it when you see her.
Of course.
Of course, sir.
We'd mean to only extend a friendly hand to all of the folks here.
Could someone help me with my luggage?
I could use a bit of a hand with it too.
The guard just kind of rolls his eyes and turns into the gate, motions for one of the estate servants, or probably 2, actually. You'll probably need 2 people for all of the combined luggage.
Oh, you know Jasper, he doesn't keep any servants. First to do it himself, it's just how it is. So apologies to all of you.
Such a cheapskate. I swear.
Such a cheaps. But we love him. We love him dearly.
The 2 servants huffing and puffing and dragging your luggage up to the estate.
do it.
I think we got away with it.
I think we did.
All right. And unlike the two Stonehearts, the rest of you are here legitimately, and therefore receive no trouble at the gates as you pass by the guards. Each of you hands your invitation. They permit you in. A servant helps you with your luggage, should you have any. And you find yourselves inside the Hollowlight estate proper. And it's a very gorgeous and elaborate manor. The floors are white marble, the columns are white marble. Golden filigree decorates a grand staircase leading to the upper levels. Your voices echo in the hollow opulence of the manor. And you look amongst yourselves, your fellow contestants, if you will. Observe each other, size each other up, and for a moment, the estate is yours. Until you await the arrival of your hostess.
There's like groups of us, right? Like it's not just us four, just to be clear. Or well, us five, I should say.
Correct. Correct. As you survey, there's a handful of other people who have already arrived. Most notably, Gwyn particular, you would recognize them, and Luella as well, actually. On the far end of the room, very much kind of secluded to their own corner for the time being, are the royal twins, Princess Adora and Prince Alto, sort of whispering to each other. Amongst many others, but they are certainly the most noticeable of the bunch, or notable of the bunch.
Is there already a crowd forming around the prince and princess?
They're definitely the ones that people's interest are gravitating to. At the moment, since everyone just arrived, it's sort of like at a party when you notice the popular people and you don't want to be the first to go and say hello.
Oh,
It's
no.
kind of like
I'm
that.
popular. I'm popular. If you guys aren't going to do anything, I'm going to go talk to the prince and princess.
I think, just as a note, Topaz probably immediately went to their room and donned a separate outfit specifically for the opening ceremony.
I will say rooms have not been opened just yet. Yes.
Bathrooms? Which one's in the bathroom?
Either, it's fine. I came in wearing the outfit I'm wearing.
Yeah,
though.
go in the broom closet. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Oleander is currently he's not looking at the prince and princess. He's actually seeing if there's another tiefling anywhere, a specific one, if you catch my drift.
I do. Go ahead and give me a perception roll.
Oh. Okay, perception.
Perceive.
Okay.
It's a 12.
Okay. I will say that with a 12, you gaze about the room, looking for a very particular set of horns, and you do not find them.
Well, is any of Silas, or is there anyone I would particularly know, either from my own dealings with Silas and Linus's parents, or my father's dealings? Is there anyone my father would have told me to look out for?
Yeah, as of now, at least from the most recent arrivals, there's no one that you are immediately familiar with, Oleander. You can surmise that the two tieflings in the corner are very important people, as they are gathering the eyes and ears of all who are present. But as of right now, from what you can see, there's no one immediately familiar to you.
Alright, he's
Actually, you know what? Topaz, are you still in the broom closet?
No, I'm out of the room closet at this point.
You're out of the broom closet. Are you freshly
He's-
changed?
He is freshly changed.
All
so
right.
Wearing the lovely outfit I started to draw today, which is the nice, like, pure white dress with, like, a very open neck, with a bunch of gemstones inlaid in around the chest and underbust, as well as a belt made out of more gemstones. Every single finger they have is adorned in rings, and they are holding a little it's like one of those, like, fancy cigarette holders, essentially.
Oleander, you do see a very garishly dressed, very tall furbolg with purple hair that you do in fact recognize.
He goes, "Oh, you."
Did you say that to my face, or is this to yourself?
It's inside his head, but the
That
general vibe is there. He's like, "Oh, them." He knows this. He knows Topaz. He knows his Lapis's family.
Yep.
He knows the family at least.
Yep. And you see the two siblings, the two Stoneheart siblings, in tow, surrounded by piles of luggage.
I imagine Topaz probably with their, I think passive perception of 20, or like 18.
Oh goodness,
Probably.
yeah, you definitely clock Oleander.
Yeah. But I don't think I know who they are, but I noticed the look. And I'll just kind of, like, give a little nod and immediately say to Lapis, do you know who this man who's given us a look is?
No, I thought you did by the scowl on him. Is he an
I
ex-boyfriend of
don't know
yours?
him. No, he's not an ex-boyfriend.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Why is he scowling at you so?
I wish I knew.
We can't be starting off the event like this. Go talk to him. He's clearly mad at you for something. Go fix it.
Oh, fine. You find someone else. We need to start to mingle. We don't know anybody here.
I know. So go fix the one angry person.
Okay. I will go fix the one angry person. You better find someone to bring him over when you find him.
Fine.
And she'll just kind of, like, saunter over, doing her best sexy walk.
Give me a performance check.
Between your outfit and, like, this walk, everybody in the fucking room is looking at you at this point. Just out of confusion.
Is it time to gain or lose a society point?
Yes.
Oh
we'll
my
see,
god,
we'll
it starts
see.
now.
Don't worry, I have a 0 in this.
Oh my god, the dice tell the story. A nat 1. Lily, I'm not even gonna do this. You describe your failure of a walk, please.
I don't even know what to do.
You
Holy
fucking
cow.
trip it. You fall like Pepe with, like, the nuggets everywhere. The gemstones splatter everywhere.
Oh no!
Nose
What a way to start
broken,
this.
just...
I imagine they just kind of start to walk, doing their best, but they are not themselves a very, like, confident and sexy person. But they know that they have to strut their stuff like they've seen done on runways and stuff like that, and probably just basically immediately trip on the dress and face plant in, and they probably break their little cigarette holder.
Oleander, and you know what? Gwyn and Luella, you see this furbolg absolutely eat shit. Like, full, like, tripping on the hem of their dress, faceplant into the marble, like, audible slap as their face hits the ground.
Why did I have to say sexually? I could have just walked.
The scowl on Oleander's face immediately melts, and he's like, "Oh, you can't, you poor thing."
I can't
And he,
escape
like-
from being a fail girl. It's just
Honestly, it's good.
Oleander like immediately walks up and is like, I don't know what that was, but you need help."
I need help. Ugh.
And he like offers, and he immediately like offers one of his hands.
Topaz would absolutely take them up on this and just brush themselves off and just take a deep sigh. I just wanted to
Oleander-
know why you were scowling at me. It's really as
Oleander-
simple as that.
Oleander tries to hide any like the issues with like his deer end, like if there's any issues with the dress. And he's like, I'm Oleander Bloodthorne. I've been trying to I've been trying to ask your father for archaeological digs, and like even before your father, like before I was
Oh, darling, don't be making business pitches to me. I'm not exactly here for that.
no, I mean like there's been a lot of archaeological sites lost due to the gem digging, the gem work.
Is that so? Well, if it wasn't evident by my failure, it's not exactly my expertise. So, I apologize to disappoint, but if that's why you're mad at me, well then you can certainly take it up with my father when you have the time.
Oh no, I cannot be mad at you.
I don't exactly want your pity if I'm being honest, but... Listen, whatever the Stonehearts have done, I'm sure reparations can be made. To be honest, I couldn't care less. As long as I get the gemstones to fuel my desires.
Carl, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pay you. I'm not fit for this type of. And he's trying not to look at all the nobles around him, because he knows this is like. There's probably a lot of people still staring. He's like, I'm not fit for this type of shindig.
Oh. Well, surely you can learn. I swear I knew something about this, but then, as you can see, I just drew the attention in the worst possible way to myself. Listen,
You know what
I just want to say, whatever grievances you have against my family, I'll just put them aside. Is that acceptable?
I'd say so. After all, I probably put too much anger into my look.
I mean, it is something you'd expect from a witch sympathizer.
He's going to brush that right off. There's no reaction. He's like, well, I went.
You don't have to say
Sometime.
anything to that, darling.
Yeah, he's a little bit, yeah. Well, let's try and to, put on a show, get you out of this scrape, so to say.
I think by the end of this night, people will have hopefully forgotten about this, but I appreciate your care. And they're gonna kind of look around, like, realizing kind of that Oleander does not like the family and just feel like acknowledged. And they think they handled it fabulously. whether or not they did or not, is would kind of look for Topaz, or not Topaz, we would look for Lapis and just be like, try and give her like an eye of like, we're okay.
Now, just for my DMing reference, Topaz and
Mhm.
Oleander, your conversation, are you just having this conversation at normal volume?
Vesper, how are you speaking? You can go
I'd,
first.
I'd say a semi-whisper. Like, anyone who's, like, actually trying to listen might hear it. Or, like, they have to, like, make, like, a perception check, maybe? I don't know.
Okay.
I'd say semi-whisper.
Okay.
I don't think Topaz was being quiet.
Okay.
At least in the parts that didn't involve them.
Duly noted. Just asking for no reason, you know, no reason at all.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Gwen, you said you wanted to approach the royal twins?
I'm a popular kid, they're a popular kid, and up until Topaz existed, everyone was looking at them. So yes, I would like to talk to the
Excellent.
prince and princess,
So
Alto and Adora.
as the unfortunate Furbolg and the servitor get into conversation amongst themselves, you approach Alto and Adora. And as they do so, they look upon you with an air of recognition. They definitely know who you are. And they look at you expectantly.
I walk forward, and as per the nature of the court, as per our ranking outside of the trials, I do the first bow. Prince Alto, Princess Adora, it's a pleasure to see you both here.
Alto gives you a big smile. Adora gives a curt little nod of her head, and the twins look remarkably similar. They both have the same dark skin, black hair, red pointed horns protruding from their heads. They both dress on the flamboyant side, particularly Alto, bedecked in gilded satins, fine jewelry, which is kind of juxtaposing to his shaggy cut hair, a little bit of scruff on his chin. And whereas Adora, her clothing is very simple, but bedecked with copious amounts of gold and jewelry over top of her blouse, adorning her horns. Her rings are finely decorated. And as she looks over you, she'll give a bit of a wolfish smile and just, "Hello, Captain. Oh, should I still call you that?"
No, it's entirely up to your preference what you call me, but seeing as we're here in the trials, perhaps rank should be forgotten and Gwyn should suffice.
Just Gwyn, then. And that smile does not fade.
It's Alto smile, right?
Adora.
Adora, okay, sorry, my bad.
Mm-hmm.
So, if I may ask, I'd like to know, did your parents push you to come here, or have you come here with some higher goal in mind?
Well, Gwen, this is Adora responding as well. I'll have you know we are entirely here of our own merit. Of course, it does well for the royal family to make an appearance at an event such as this. Of course, we have a reputation to uphold. But I assure you, We are here because we were invited.
I have no doubt of your invitation. I was merely wondering what more could you two ask to have? But
What more could we ask to have? This is Alto chiming in. My good man, we're here the same reason you are. We want the star.
you know, it's been so long since the last one fell upon our kingdom. Maybe wishes aren't all they're cracked up to be.
Maybe not. But we don't like to lose.
White. Have you taken stock of the room? Anyone who catches your eye?
Are you asking us for information, Captain?
I'm merely making conversation with, two very high-ranking people of my kingdom.
And Adora gives you a once-over, her eyes very visibly looking you up and down, gauging what kind of threat she perceives you to be. And she just very simply says, if I were you, Gwen, I would worry most about the people you know best. People that we think we know just because we see them every day. And she is going to very subtly cast her eyes at one of the more familiar faces to her in the room, which would be Luella.
Is it Luella's turn to respond?
You can go ahead and respond to that first, Gwen.
Okay.
Luella is not immediately present, I presume.
Not at the moment.
Gwyn is, going to nod along, and instead of walking off, and I was getting the twins involved, he's going to raise, like, I'm assuming there were wine glasses and stuff, he's going to raise one towards Luella to sort of gesture at her. Assuming they are available at the moment.
She is available, and she definitely notices, and after a moment of pause, does walk over in a very measured and perhaps overly smooth manner.
Are you gonna make them roll a performance check for the
No, they
smooth
didn't
manner?
say sexy.
Luella, it seems to be walking with her usual air of confidence, so no performance checking needed.
Ha!
We could have been sisters in that one.
But yes,
Would
as you approach, sorry, go ahead.
Would, judging from context, I would assume at this point Luella knows Gwyn, or at least of Gwyn.
Correct. You may not know Gwen personally. You've certainly seen him in passing. You know of his position as a military strategist and advisor in the court. And you definitely know of him.
Yes, you called Mr. Gwyn?
Yes, it's just, we were talking about you. You were in our vision, you know. As members of the
Oh?
royal court, we should all, you know, enjoy each other's company.
A vision indeed. Alto will chime in and he'll offer a hand to Luella.
What would be the appropriate courtly response here?
Presumably he is looking to take your hand, kiss on the knuckles, that whole song and dance.
She will offer.
He'll look mighty pleased with himself and press a short kiss to your knuckles, give a toothy, fanged grin. Lovely to see you, Miss Luella.
And you as well, Your Highness. Having an enjoyable evening, I presume.
Adora sighs. She has at the moment, not yet, but it was rather funny seeing that poor creature fall to the ground. Can't imagine the utter embarrassment.
I am sure you will see far more fumbles.
Do you promise, Luella?
She gives the Owlin equivalent of a smile. Hardly perceptible. That's her response.
Cryptic.
Bird.
Bird is a bird. Gwen and Luella, is there anything else you wish to say to the twins?
I would note, perhaps you shouldn't be so quick to underestimate that furbolg. I mean, they are decorated quite well, and they did garner everyone's attention through a fumble, and has already made a friend from the looks of it. Who knows, perhaps they'll be rubbing shoulders with you two soon.
Oh, you are funny, Gwyn. Perhaps. We'll keep an eye on this unfortunate creature. See what sort of heads she can turn. And as the conversation starts to wind down, you all hear a startling bit of commotion outside the front doors of the estate. You can hear the guards who are at the front gate yelling, the sounds of a foot chase, and barging in, the doors just swing open, and there's a disheveled, young, half-orc man, clearly out of breath, clearly on the run from the guards at the front gate. And the first thing out of his mouth is, please, I just need to see Dame Leonora. I can explain everything. The guards eventually catch up to him, like, all right, come here, you, and try to clap their hands onto his shoulders and drag him out. Please, I just need to talk to Dame Leonora. I have an invitation.
These aren't like royal, these aren't like kingdom guards, these are specifically the Hololight estate guards, right?
Correct, yes.
Is anybody getting involved? We see Dame Leonora anywhere?
As of right now, we do not see Dame Leonora. People are... You know the saying, like, the more people there are to witness an event, the less likely they are to help. It's kind of that situation. Everyone wants to see what's going down, but so far, no one has yet to act on helping this individual.
You know what? Gwyn is pretty fucking tired of the twins and of the siblings, and we're at an equal playing field. Hold this, he says as he just basically forces the wine glass into Alto's hand.
Oh my god, you're telling the prince to hold your cup?
Yep. I've heard you out. You gotta hear me out. And he's gonna walk over to the kerfuffle and simply say, What appears to be the problem? Is that... And would I recognize who this half-orc is? Or this orc is?
You do not.
Damn.
Despite all of your reconnaissance and your, daily know-how about the citizens of Wishborne, particularly within the capital, this is a unknown face to you. Sorry, go ahead.
Would Oleander know who this person is?
Oleander, no, you would not know this person either. This is a remarkably unknown individual. Probably hence the issue with the guards.
Do I know
We're gonna take turns on this.
Does anyone know them? Any
I
of us?
will just say, from each of your histories and expertise, no, none of you know this individual.
that?
A fresh face.
Oleander kind of steps forward, like he's still probably next to Topaz, but he's like, if he does not have a weapon, I don't see why he has to be manhandled so badly.
He practically barged in here, sir, as a fake invitation. Certainly not on the invite list. He has to go. No, I told you, I do have an invitation. It needs to be read by Dame Leonora.
Let me incite this, man.
Yeah, go for it.
This is going to be a
Oh,
natural
nat
20.
20.
Give me his backstory.
Give me
DM.
his
Tell me who it is.
backstory. Gwen, you can tell by the determined furrow of his brow, the pleading look in his eyes, the sheer nervous sweat on his brow. This man is telling the truth.
Hold on. If I may, I believe we could clarify this as Gwyn holds out his invitation and then reaches his hand out towards the orc. Show me yours.
I'm very appreciative of your help, sir, but I'm afraid this is just for the dame's eyes only.
Look at yourself. Are you here for the trials?
I am, yes.
Then you know how important it is to take part in these. Right before you, you have one hand outstretched to help you take that first step before they have you kneeling in the ground, dragged away from here. I suggest you take it.
All right, but please don't open it. As I said, it's for her eyes only.
The seal alone should be proof. I doubt anyone could make a mimic.
He will hand you the sealed piece of parchment, and on that nat 20, no further roll needed, you take a look at the wax seal on it, and it is indeed the personal royal seal of King Bastion.
Damn, I could be such a fucking dick here, but I won't. Gwyn is going to hold up both the parchments in one hand, up high, not just for the guards to see, but for all the people here to see. This man has every right to be part of these trials. He has received an invitation just like yourselves and just like I. These gods cannot escort him out of here, as he has every right to be here. I hand back the invitation.
You hear a voice echoing at the top of the grand staircase. I think you'll let me be the judge of that, Captain. And you see at the top of the stairs is a stout halfling woman with short cropped hair, bedecked in a fine, silvery, shimmering garb. Her face is half scarred by what appeared to be some burn marks. And you, Gwen, would know this individual, and probably Luella as well. This is Dame Leonora. And she comes down the steps, and she says, "I'll thank you kindly, Captain, to not order about my men, thank you."
Forgive my boldness, but I bought the time for them to not make such a mistake, as they were about to. And I just take the letter, like before I hand it off to the orc, I just pass it over to Dame Leonora.
I'll be the judge of that. Thank you.
Yep.
And she'll take the letter, crack it open, and discreetly hold the letter close to her to read. And if you want to, anyone who wants to can give a insight check on her as she is reading this note.
Oh, you got it, DM.
Same.
It's
Artificial 20.
Okay, dirty
Holy
20.
shit, what the fuck?
27, 21. Topaz. 19.
Fuck.
Dang! Y'all have
That's some
keen
good insight.
eyes. Keen eyes. All right, so all of you will notice as she is reading this letter, it's a very subtle movement, but she actually bristles a little and promptly folds the letter back up and eyes up the half-orc gentleman and gives a curt nod to her guards, gesturing for them to leave silently. And she just very simply says to him, "You're very lucky you have such persuasive allies, sir." And he looks very sheepish and gives a nod, doesn't say anything. And she'll give him one final glance over and starts to resume her place back at the top of the stairs. At which point, the half-orc will approach Gwyn in particular and just, "Thank you, sir. I don't believe I'd be allowed to stay if it weren't for you."
Everyone deserves their chance at a wish, after all.
True enough. I'm Damus, by the way.
I am Captain Gwyn. As I take his hand to shake it.
Captain Gwyn. I've heard of you, sir. And he'll shake your hand, and it's kind of the equivalent of, like, a limp wrist handshake. He's not very good at this.
That's cool, it's cool. I am 8 strength. I would not want this orc to fucking break my wrist.
Yes, upon a closer inspection, now that he's not surrounded by guards, this half-orc man, Damus, he's tall but lean. He sort of stands with poor posture as though to make himself visually smaller. He's got shaggy, relatively unkempt hair. There's a touch of stubble on his chin. There's a single tusk protruding from his lower lip. Surprisingly simple clothing. Like, of all of the people in this room, Damus is definitely worse dressed. His clothes are several seasons out of fashion.
I gotta ask DM. I know the falling star is something that doesn't happen too often, but would there be precedent for someone of a lower class to be here?
There are stories of a commoner winning the heart of a star. Ages past, but that was before the time of the trials.
Damus, I'm afraid to say I can't say the same. I'm not too familiar. I'm assuming Oleander's also, like, basically in this conversation too now, right?
He's kind of leaning in, yes.
Yeah, just making sure. You can hop in as you want, Vesper, if you want. But, Damus, I'm afraid I've not heard of you before. Pray, do tell us about yourself. It's important to leave an impression on, well, people here.
Oh, I don't think there's much of an impression to be made, to be honest. I'm really nobody special. I don't come from any noble named family or titles or land. I'm just me, sir.
Well, what do you do for a living, Damus?
Oh, I'm an apprentice, sir. I study magic.
sorcery, wizardry, or what are you apprenticing in?
Oh, I, deal mostly in, apothecary arts, sir. Potions, balms, healings, ointments, that sort of thing.
DM, is alchemy considered magic in this setting?
Alchemy is a hearty blend of magic and science. One could theoretically do alchemy with just magic or just science, but one finds the most successful alchemists are skilled in both.
Okay.
Oleander,
Go ahead, Oleander.
Oleander kind of eyes him up and down and is like, do you know, who is your master? Who are you apprenticing under?
Oh, I don't believe you would know him. He's, well, not so well known, but he goes by the name of Cassian.
Would I know that from either just history or from my sister?
You know what? Give me a history check.
I think I'm gonna. I would like to roll that too, DM.
Go for
That's
it.
okay. Thank you.
I'm not sure which one of these is
Oh,
there.
no,
Good
natural-
lord!
It's the left. It's the left number, Vesper. The first number is like the default number. But two natural 20s.
Yes, this is a name that sort of scratches the back of your mind. This is the name of a old, like, mage who has really fallen into obscurity. But the name is familiar to you.
Oh man, I wasted a nat 20.
The only thing that, and I will say this with the nat 20, is you could have sworn that Cassian has died. He's just been so, the name has been so obscured and so not talked about. People just kind of assumed this geezer's dead.
Oleander kind of shares a look with Gwyn, and it's like, is he telling the truth?
Cassian, I see. Well, that's a remarkable enough name for you to justify being here, so don't be afraid. You're more than everyone's equal here, as he sort of gestures to the room. A little long on the comparison with Damus and the prince and princess. You are equal with everyone here.
Go ahead, Topaz.
I was just gonna say, since I kind of was with Oleander and kind of got softly nudged towards this, I don't think Topaz would probably join this conversation, but since Luella was in the area, might be trying to nudge their way over to that, but we could do that after this conversation finishes up.
Okay, sure. I think just as a final thankful gesture, Damus will just nod his head and just, thank you, sir. Sirs, both of you. I'll do my best.
Nods along and was about to raise the glass and then realized somebody's holding it for.
Go to get your glass back from Alto.
No.
There's no way there's anything left in it.
I'm gonna wave him off. I'm gonna look back and around the room, and then I'm not gonna get that wine glass back.
Oh no! You know what? By this point, Alto double fisting the glasses. He's already drank your wine glass. It's gone.
That's fine. He can have my leftovers.
Yep. Topaz, you wanted to speak to Luella.
I think he would just kind of knowing what the idea of these situations are is going to do his best to just kind of lean in and start to and say hello and just looking quite beautiful in that dress you've got there, Luella.
I feel like at this point, Luella would have been in like the middle of the most polite non-conversation with the twins, and just lazily looks over. Any chance that I would know anything about?
Give me
The
a
Hearthstone family.
It's
a
fair.
history check.
A history check.
It's a fair ask.
No,
Ooh.
you do not know who this is. With that 9, not no.
Yes, and who might you be, young one?
My name is Topaz Stoneheart. You may be familiar with the business my father runs, with mining out gems and other beautiful, extravagant objects from our fair earth.
I can't say that I am familiar.
Well, it's all the same, really. I just wanted to do my best to find a person with good fashion sense and just kindly get to know those around the party, as we're a bit of new money and don't exactly have much in the way of highfalutin connections.
Luella looks to the twins, gives sort of a
Oh,
trilling.
I'm interrupting. Oh, your majesties, it's thank you for having us
We're
here.
not majesties yet. My father's still very much alive, but your highnesses will do. This is Alto speaking.
Highnesses, got it. I appreciate your generosity, Prince Alto.
And then Adora will actually give you a once-over. Did you say Stoneheart?
I did indeed.
As in Jasper Stoneheart?
There's like a little bit of like resignation of like, yes, I've got to get used to the fact that I'm here on my father's merits. Yes, Jasper Stoneheart is my father.
She'll preen a little bit, and all of the gemstones that sparkle around her collar from her, quite frankly, ridiculously garish necklace just sort of glimmer in the light. Just, I'm a fan of your father's work.
Oh, keen eyes, keen eyes. And she'll just kind of gesture to all of the gemstones on all over her dress and all over their hands, everything. Says, we have similar tastes in that way.
Adora will give your outfit a quick glance and tilt her head, and that wolfish smile returns and just... Do you think you should wear more gems than a princess?
It is.
It must be awfully heavy.
It is quite heavy, but it is also my style. As a budding fashion designer, it is something that I think differentiates myself from them, or from many other fashion designers in the country. And they gesture towards Luella and both the prince and princess. I would be happy to design you with any sort of outfit that you want. Yourself, happy to make the most gemstone inladen outfit you could possibly ever have, Princess Adora.
I see. And your name was?
Topaz.
Topaz Stoneheart.
I-
And she gives like a sort of mock finger to her chin as though she's thinking to herself. Just, I've never heard of you.
Mm. Well,
Do you
if you know
sell
any-
many designs at the capital?
no, I'm afraid I do not. But
Dear,
you know-
not the latest fashion, are we?
it's not that. It's just that, well, if you know anything about the Stonehearts and how they work, they tend to be pretty cloistered in terms of sticking around at good old at Stone's Throw.
Your Highness,
Yes.
don't you think it perhaps a bit too early to play with your meal? Perhaps it would be best to let it ripen.
You're quite right, Luella. And after all, I shouldn't tease the poor thing. After all, he's already had such a unfortunate beginning.
Topaz is absolutely burning up, like in embarrassment. Yes, it was truly unfortunate. I think I will excuse myself from here, if that would please your highnesses. And
Unless...
to Lady Luella.
Unless, this is Alto chiming in, you did it on purpose, and so garnered the attention of all eyes in the room. I think that would make you one of the cleverer ones amongst us.
It was absolutely not on purpose. And Topaz is a terrible liar. Yes, it was a bit on purpose to show that I have the guile to make my presence known in these kinds of situations.
Give me a little deception check, Topaz.
Stop making me roll.
Well, it doesn't even need to roll inside.
You told me you're lying. Roll deception. Ooh, 2, a hot 2. All right. The twins are gonna look you over, look between themselves, smile with matching grins, and Alto just say, "Of course, of course." Now, if you'll excuse us.
Can I roll insight on them?
Sure. What are you inciting?
Did they buy it?
Go for it.
Oh
Give me
my
a roll.
God.
23.
Okay, so you rolled well, which means you're reading their expression, which means that you can tell they are bold-faced lying to you.
I think Topaz would kind of like hesitate for a moment as I start to walk away. She just says, "I'm sorry for lying. Hey, I know you know." And they'll just kind of walk away from the exchange.
All right.
Luella's gonna walk up next to Topaz as they're leaving, after, of course, giving the proper farewell, and just give Topaz a light tap on the shoulder.
Probably would spook them. Oh, Lady Luella, I thought you wouldn't want to speak with me anymore.
I offer a favor.
Of course. What could I help you with, miss?
A small tip. Do not let yourself be so overt with your willingness to out your own lies. Yes? She offers a hand for a handshake.
She will take the hand, says, I think you're right. I have a bit to learn in this high society place.
Indeed, and another thing for you to learn. A favor given is a favor owed. And then she walks off.
Topaz just takes a big deep breath, just like, oh my god. Oh god.
All right. And with that, Dame Leonora, having resumed her position at the top of the steps, claps her hands to gain everyone's attention and proceeds to say in a loud and practiced voice, "Welcome, one and all, to my humble home, Hollowlight Estate. It is my great pleasure to represent the Celestial Court in these, the Trial of Hearts. As you all know, a star has fallen once again in Wishborne, the first in 150 years. And it is my great pleasure to introduce you to that star. You will have the opportunity to introduce yourselves to him at dinner this evening. Now, if you will please, permit me the honor of introducing Essie." And descending from the staircase is a remarkably lithe and graceful young man, adorned in a silky satin blue gown, long flowing red locks, bedecked in strands of shimmering silver diamonds, pearls, very much star-shaped emblems decorating both his hair and dress. And there's a very elegant calm about this individual. And standing at the steps with Dame Leonora, peers amongst all of the contestants, and has a fairly unreadable but not unpleasant expression. You can tell they're trying to keep their cards close to the chest, so to speak. And gives a very polite bow and descends with Dame Leonora as they lead all of you and the fellow contestants to a large dining room decorated with winter greenery, poinsettia flowers, silver garlands, very picturesque. But instead of a long dining room table that you would expect with assigned seats, you instead find several like cocktail tables sort of scattered throughout the room. And Dame Leonora stands at the center of the room. No assigned seating at this meal, as I do not wish to give anyone a unfair advantage being so close to our star. So please, introduce yourselves, mingle, eat, and I will announce the first trial at the conclusion of dinner. And she claps her hands again, and servants are scattered throughout the room, setting meals down at each table, appetizers, hors d'oeuvres, finger foods, plenty of drinks to go around. And the first to sort of beeline to the star is, of course, the royal twins. But with that, you are able to mix and mingle as you like.
Mm.
Hmm.
And this is like the stars come down, right?
Mm-hmm. The star is among you. Essie is among you.
That you can sit there.
Amogus?
Yeah. I'm assuming there's already a crowd forming towards Essie, right?
Yes.
Can
Unfortunately,
I-
a lot of people want to be the first to talk to Essie.
Yeah. Can I tell, like, when they're taking in the room, where does their vision go towards? Can I tell that?
Essie, you mean?
Yeah, from Essie.
Give,
From his.
Yeah, give an insight check.
Oh man, all the luck's gonna run out. Oh no, artificial 21.
Okay.
What the heck?
Essie
Yeah, I'm sorry.
is very politely making small talk with the growing crowd, but as you follow his eyes, he very much feels crowded. And he's mostly looking at the twins, but you can see his eyes frequently going for the door.
Hmm. Uh, is the door like shut or like?
No, they're sort of open.
They're open. Hmm. Does anybody else want to do a thing or?
I imagine Topaz is going to be sitting back quite far, considering basically all of their interactions have gone poorly so far, and letting them be potentially one of the last impressions.
Hmm.
Luella is also hanging back, very much watching the crowd and Essie.
Damn, am I really gonna? I don't even know if this is gonna work. How shiny is Topaz's outfit?
Very shiny. It's gaudy and gauche, just the way they like it.
Topaz. I'm gonna walk over to Topaz. Hello there. I believe I saw my acquaintance Luella speak with you, as well as the royal siblings. Does Topaz look visibly upset?
At those words, probably is just gonna immediately respond with, "So not the best first impression."
Well, thankfully, it's only the first. These trials go on for quite some time, you know, and every moment can be used to make an impression. Now, might I ask, why are you so far from, well, the star of the show?
I figure that if anything, he may the ideal best when it's in a bit of a honest state, and all these people scrambling doesn't seem very honest to me. Something I've picked up, at least in the little bit of time I've been here so far. So I don't want to come off as pushy, I suppose.
I suppose it's too late for that, as, well, damn near everybody has given that impression.
Indeed.
But still, at the very least, you must want to be seen. I dare say I think your outfit is the shiniest here today.
Blushes a little bit. Says, "You are quite the gentleman, aren't you?"
Oh, I merely understand what it's like to be cut by those children's words. But here, they're equals with us, so we can cut back. Now, and he outstretches a hand. Would you like to go make another first impression? Gesturing towards Essie.
I think you may be the best first impression assistant that I can ask for. You seem to be quite important yourself. What was your name? I apologize.
It's Gwyn. Simply Gwyn.
Gwyn. I feel like you know this at this point, but Topaz Stoneheart.
Topaz, are you afraid to speak?
I've never been the most charismatic or well-worded individual.
Do you put your hand in his hand, by the way?
Mm-hmm.
In response to that, you could feel like, at first of all, it's like friendly and welcoming. Upon hearing that, like, you're like kind of an antisocial person who doesn't really talk. Like Gwyn, like Gwyn's holding your hand much more rigidly, and then looks you up and down, and then turns away from you as he continues the conversation and moves towards Essie. I once knew a man who was no good at talking, but everybody stared at him. You don't need words to garner the attention of others, Topaz. You simply need presence.
Is that so?
Show off your presence to them all. And Gwyn's going to lead Topaz into the crowd, and we're equals here, and I feel pretty important. I'm gonna fucking get our way in towards Essie and the twins.
Go
and the
for
siblings.
it. Go for it.
Yeah.
You can hear the twins mid-conversation with Essie. It's definitely clear Alto is doing more of the talking than Adora. So you can take this opportunity to interrupt them if you wish.
Yeah, I imagine like everybody is. It's the whole popular thing again, where like we make room for the prince and princess. No
one wants to be the first to interrupt them.
Yeah. Gwyn is immediately gonna like literally step into the like his foot stamps down into the conversation between like Essie and the siblings and goes, Alto, Adora, I see you're quick to introduce yourselves to our lucky star tonight.
Of course. I feel they should receive a royal welcome, don't you think?
I suppose, but I've always been a fan of personal introductions, as he like takes Topaz and like they're both like Gwyn and Topaz pointing towards Essie and goes, pleased to make your acquaintance. May I have your name? As Gwyn outstretches a hand towards Essie.
Essie looks kind of amused and moves to shake your hand. I figured you would already know my name, sir.
Well, introductions are all so much more personal when they're from our own mouths. As I'm sure Alto here has more than made himself clear who he is.
Yes, I've just been introduced to Prince Alto, Princess Adora, and now you, Gwyn. And your friend, I presume?
And motions towards Topaz.
I apologize. It's a little spooky, but Essie, it is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. My name is Topaz Stoneheart. You look absolutely radiant.
Well, thank you. It is a pleasure to meet you, Topaz Stoneheart. I'm happy to make your acquaintance. And yours too, Gwyn.
Now, since we're like in the center of the circle, there are more eyes catching upon Topaz's outfit, right?
For sure.
Is Essie looking at Topaz's outfit?
It's kind of hard not to look at Topaz's outfit. Topaz is like a brilliant disco ball on the dance floor. So Essie certainly has looked at the dress.
I feel I may be a bit presumptuous, but I'm not person to just wear my heart on my sleeve. But I would love to make you a necklace, if that would please you.
A necklace? Are you in the business of jewelry then?
Bit by relation, but I myself, I make dresses, outfits, fashion. My family owns a bit of a mine, so we have a very extensive access to gemstones, as you can see by my.
I see.
Yeah.
You are rather dazzling, Topaz.
I don't mean to be as dazzling as you would be. If that's offense, then I apologize immensely.
Offense?
Gwyn's chuckling at that.
It's no offense to dress in a style different than my own, but I mean no disrespect when I say this, but right now I cannot wear anything of yours, as it would seem like wearing a favor. Understand?
Of course, I understand. I had not even thought of it.
Topaz, it is fine. I, much as everyone here is ought to know, the Stoneheart's gems are well known throughout the Wishborne Kingdom. And, as Gwyn touches his own gem at the chest of his robes. Yes, but I do find they're quite dazzling indoors. The light in here catches too many of the refractions within these gems. I find they work best under a night sky, as Gwyn gestures towards the open door. Perhaps we should all go out for a bit of fresh air, some space, and truly appreciate Topaz's and her family's craftsmanship.
Oh,
I don't mean to impose or anything of the sort. I just...
Right now, you mean? And Essie will look at the door, the eyes are sparkling with some hope, but Dame Leonora will interject here, Captain Gwyn, unfortunately, we cannot deprive the other guests of our star's presence just yet. The contest hasn't started yet, you know.
I wasn't suggesting to abscond away with her. I mean, we are all more than capable of going outside and simply just taking in those first few steps of fresh air. There would be no harm in it, Dame Leonora.
A few steps, then.
Only
Promptly
a few.
Back. And Essie will give a nod. And
Gwyn's actually, if Essie's hands are still out, he is gonna take his hand. Gwyn is gonna take his hand. I assure you, Dame Leonora, I will keep a close eye on him.
Very well. And as you turn to you could practically feel her eyes on your back at all times.
Yeah, just like the royal court.
Yep, just like the royal court. But Essie will take a turn about the room with you. And as other people will approach at the same time, but now that you're moving rather than Essie being stationary, it's a lot more manageable for Essie to keep up with the conversations, as really only one or two people at a time can approach him as you're moving about the room. Is there anything else anyone wishes to say to our star tonight?
Luella would try to get a short conversation in at some point before the end of the evening.
By all means.
She would walk up and... Sorry, I'm gathering my thoughts for a moment.
Sure.
You're good. Take your time, girl.
No. Panic.
I imagine like we're all sort of like we've turned from like a stationary crowd to this slowly moving pack around the room.
Yeah, and
And
eventually the crowd does start to gather. People are mingling not just with the intention of garnering Essie's attention, but also mingling now amongst themselves, breaking off into small groups, little cliques here and there.
Luella would definitely be sure to be one of the last ones.
yeah, like I imagine Luella is stationary up until Gwyn leads Essie towards that side of the room, or towards that area.
Mm-hmm.
More or less.
Oleander, you have not yet had a chance to speak to the star, if you wish.
Oleander is kind of like keeping an eye out, but he will go up to the star. But first, he actually kind of looks out for Damus.
Sure. Damus is very much keeping to himself. Definitely a wallflower amongst everyone else. And it is kind of just keeping to himself, just kind of content to watch the going-ons.
Oleander kind of just goes up to Damus and is like, "Are you going to introduce yourself to the star of the evening?"
Oh, I don't know if I really should tonight. I mean, everybody's talking to him. I'm sure he's tired of so many people trying to get up in his face and talk. I'm sure I'll have another opportunity later.
I'm sure you'd be a breath of fresh air. Come on. You're not the only person of lower birth here, I assure you.
I don't know. It's awfully intimidating, isn't it?
We all have to start somewhere now. You came in. You've made the first step. And Oleander kind of just offers his hand. He's basically going to be the wingman like Gwyn was to Topaz.
Damus will give a shallow exhale, and you see him try to like steel himself. You could tell all of his energy was spent just getting here. So he has to sort of psych himself up, and he'll take your hand and follow your lead.
I'm Oleander, by the way, and he starts like leading him to Essie as Gwyn brings Essie around.
Oleander, it's nice to meet you. Nice to have a friendly face.
Like I said, I'm just a meager archaeologist. I wouldn't know why I'm here either.
Archaeologist, you say?
Yes.
What sort of things do you study?
My particular area of study is not very well liked. I have been mostly studying artifacts of witches for the past few years.
Oh. I see. Forgive me, I was under the impression there wasn't much to study anymore. About witches, I mean.
Oh, there's plenty in the past that people just have. They've dug a hole, they've dug a grave, so to say, and decide that even if it's still living, it has to go under the dirt.
I see. And is your studies going well? You could tell he's very awkwardly trying to make small talk, but this is a conversation that is not super comfortable to him.
I look around for like a waiter or something. I grab a glass of wine from the table. I think you need
He'll take it just, thank you, and gives a, just like a quick, sip of the drink, but, his attention is kind of floundering in all directions between you, between the guests, between the star. This man is overstimulated and overwhelmed.
take a deep breath. You did see it earlier, but there was someone who fell flat on their face earlier.
Really?
Oh yeah, oh yes, but so I don't think you can make quite as a first impression as that.
Well, I'm sure they didn't have the guards chasing them when they came in, but I appreciate that you're trying to be nice to me.
I'm trying.
I'm trying.
Real.
With that, you can intersect with Gwyn and Topaz and Essie. And Essie will look to both you, Oleander, and Damus, and give a very polite nod in your direction. Good evening.
Good evening, Essie. My name is Oleander Bloodthorne, and this is Damus. And I try to make Damus more the pinpoint of the conversation, the actual person I want this to be around.
Oleander and Damus. It is nice to meet you both, I'm sure. And Damus, if Damus did not have a glass in his hand, he would be wringing his hands like raw, fidgeting, very nervous, clearly trying to find the right thing to say, stuttering, and finally squeaks out a hello. And that's about all that he can manage.
It's probably more than some of the other nobles at this fucking party, so well, let's fucking go. That's our man.
Hello, Essie repeats.
Anyways, it's very wonderful to see you, Essie. It's very interesting to be living through a historical event, much less be a part of it with your falling from the heavens, so to say.
Yes, it's exciting for me as well. It's not often we're given the opportunity to mingle on your planet. It's quite the experience to see everything from this viewpoint. Everyone is much bigger than I thought.
Can I make an insight check?
Sure, what are you checking?
I want to see actually how nervous Essie is.
Uh-huh.
Like how nervous and how I want to see if they're like on equal nerves as Damus.
Oh my god, double nat 20.
Oh my god.
Y'all are rolling like crazy.
Really?
You can see Essie is all politeness and grace, but it feels a little to you a little too practiced. These are mannerisms and etiquette that were likely taught. And even though you've just met Essie, and these are sort of the first words that you've spoken to him, he has yet to speak his mind.
Gotcha. So I feel like this star is, I don't want to say fake, but doesn't really know how to interact with us yet. Is basically going through what someone else told him to do.
Yeah, that would be a good assumption to make.
You know, he's a rich kid making his first debut.
Trying very hard to make a good impression.
So I think we'll do a little small talk, but then I will take Damus away before he melts into a puddle.
Gwyn's gonna nod at that Oleander and just like approve of you keeping him safe.
All right, so Oleander and Damus will depart. And Luella, did you want to take your opportunity as the night starts to wind down?
Yes. Luella will approach and, greetings, shining star.
Oh, just Essie is fine. We don't need any kind of flowery titles. I'm just Essie.
Is that what you prefer?
Yes, if you don't mind. I know it's kind of silly. I know you, people in Wishborne have a love of titles and nobility, but I'm none of those. Just a visitor.
Can I make yet another insight check, but this time for general discomfort of Essie?
Sure.
Another insight. 15.
Okay, with the 15, I will say that, you know, the night is going on. Essie is getting visibly tired. It's been a lot of new faces, a lot of new names, a lot of small talk. So while Essie is not uncomfortable, he's definitely not super comfortable either. But he's being very polite about it.
If you are not one of great title, why do you act like them?
I supposed that was the proper thing to do. If I'm to live amongst you, should I not acclimate to your behaviors?
Were you told to act this way?
Told to? I don't think anyone really needs to be told to behave in a gentle way. You are an interesting person, Miss,
She tilts her head as if thinking. You may call me Luella.
Luella.
I hope to learn more about you soon.
And are you? I think you're a very curious person. If you don't mind my saying, that is.
She gives a trilling. Sorry, one sec. A trilling laugh of, and
Bird.
then bird, and then without responding, gives a practiced bow, and backs away.
All right. With the introductions to Essie concluded, Leonora will gather everyone once again.
DM, could I do a thing as I
Yeah.
return Essie to Dame Leonora?
Absolutely, you may.
As I lead Essie back to Leonora, I say, see? Returned just as safe as she was.
Safe and sound, thank you, Captain.
It's my job, but if I may be so bold to be open, and forgive the wordplay here, but I find that birds and cages don't often mix well together.
She gives a very tight smile at that and just says, I assure you, Captain, there are no cages here.
I know, I simply hoped that, he looks at Essie and then back at Leonora, that certain people are aware of where I stand.
I see. You may take your place amongst the others, Captain.
Gwyn gives a bow and then walks back to the crowd, taking a quick look back and then going back.
Now then, dinner is concluded. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves amongst good company and the honorable presence of our star. Tomorrow, we will begin the Trial of Hearts in earnest. I encourage each of you to sleep well and get as much rest as you can, for your skills will each be put to the test. You see, Essie here is not the only mythical being here at Hollowlight. Within my grounds, there is a unicorn. And tomorrow, it will be your duty to catch it. The first contestant to successfully capture the unicorn will be declared the winner of the first trial. I suggest that you take to your beds, strategize your plans, and get ready for whatever tomorrow might bring. And with that, she carries with her a large ring of keys, and as she moves among the crowd, hands each person a singular key with a room number on it, and servants will file in and escort each of you to your rooms. And I'm going to ask each of you, as you are shown into your new temporary living quarters, you find the rooms to be quite comfortable, warm, a fire in each hearth, plenty of furs and blankets and pillows for a perfectly comfortable stay. I'm going to ask each of you, in any order that you choose, what is going through your characters' minds at the conclusion of your first evening here.
Yippee.
Sif talked first.
Sif
It's
talked first.
Sorry, I had to admit to this. My dad came in my room, and then that was the last sentence I've heard. I'm so sorry.
You're good. I just asked what each character is thinking about at the conclusion of the evening.
Oh well, Gwyn is not actually printing himself, but definitely like I I did good today.
I caused problems.
I caused
Am
problems.
I the
Yippee.
drama?
Yeah, Gwyn is happy with himself, and is not even thinking about the trial yet. He's throwing that in the back of his mind. He understands the importance of reveling in your success for a little bit.
All right. Very good. Good vibes from Gwen.
I think Topaz is currently very confused because they're being told like 6 different ways to act. Like with Essie, Essie, I could definitely tell that, or Topaz could definitely tell that he values just being normal, being genuine. But then other people are like, no, you have to play the game. And then Gwen's just like, also like, no, you shine just by presence. They're just like, what the heck is noble society?
I will also add, as you are winding down, you are indeed sharing a room with Lapis, as they were only accounting for 1 Stoneheart to show up, so now there's
Fair.
2. And she is happily chatting your ear off about all of the different people that she talked to, and of course she wants to know all about the handsome Birdman who is on your arm for the duration of the evening. So she is all too happy to gossip with you until you finally tell her to shut up and go to sleep.
Topaz definitely obliges the gossip for a while. They play that they like dislike each other, but it's actually very much they care for each other incredibly.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then eventually it's just like, I'm so tired, please.
Oleander and Luella, how we feeling?
Well,
Go
Go ahead.
Luella can go.
no, you go.
You go.
Fine, Luella will go. Luella finds a place to sit, and she spends a lot of her evening smoking her pipe, organizing her thoughts and everything that happened during the day, and finishes it off as she's ready to go to bed, writing some letters to some people back home.
Very good. Last but not least, Oleander.
Oleander is mostly trying. First, he sees whether or not the room is more built for him or not, or if they just stuck him in a room same as everyone else.
They very much anticipated your particular needs. So there is accommodating furniture for you.
Well, after he finally gets settled in, he goes through his bags. He's like, well, time to get down to the mystery of this. And he reaches into the bag where he had been storing the artifact, and he kind of brings it out. He looks around the room. He locked the room when he came in after, like, the servant went, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna lock this, like, immediately. But now he's, like, looking about the room, and he brings out the dagger,
Mm-hmm.
the crystal dagger, and he's, like, looking at it. And, like, for the audience, like, crystal daggers are what witches use to steal the hearts of stars. But this particular dagger has the crest of the royal family on the hill. And he's like trying to place it he already knows that he cannot really give a time period to this because he's never seen a crystal dagger like this, right? Like, this is royal built. This smells of the royal family, basically.
Mm-hmm. So you have this very special, very dangerous dagger in your possession. Is there any place you would like to keep it?
He sighs and is like, I don't think I'd be in a historical conspiracy. And he immediately, if there's a desk in the room, he immediately takes out one, like, the drawers, like, middle right drawer, and is immediately like, well, time to make a few alterations. And he, even if he loses sleep over it, he is going to, like, try and make a secret compartment in the drawer.
Sure. So with some tinkering, some modifications, you sort of create this false bottom to the drawer, and you can store the dagger there if you wish.
He will, but, like, he's going to check it every morning when he gets up and before he goes to bed every night. And if there is chances between everything, there will likely be one check in the middle of the day.
All right. Dagger safely stored. You head to bed. Sleep starts to take you as you consider the first trial of the unicorn chase. And that is where we will end things off tonight. I want to thank all of my players for, of course, being amazing and bringing such a delightful cast of characters to this story. Please go check them out. They are each very good streamers in their own right, so highly recommend to follow each of them: Sif, Lily, Vesper, and Ares. And we will pick up with this campaign in 2 weeks. We will be playing this bi-weekly at 7:30, so tune in next time for the first trial, the unicorn chase. And we'll see you then! Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for hanging out with us. I appreciate you, and have a good rest of your night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.